Hi, and welcome to the Health Begins with Mom show. I am Artur Palvanov, your host. On this podcast, I will share insights and interviews on health, parenting, and explore the question of what does it take to thrive as women, wives, and mothers. Now, let's get going with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Begins with Mom podcast. This is Artur Palvanov, your host. Today on the show, I actually have a very interesting and exciting interview done with my man, my husband, my best friend, the father of my daughters. And the reason I bring him on the show, it's because the number one objective that I hear from mothers and women is that I need to talk to my husband. And I totally understand. I totally have done the same. I was in the same boat many times. Every single time I have the opportunity to invest in myself, and whenever it means that I have to invest a significant amount of money into myself, I consult my husband, and I wanted to bring him on today because I want him to give the perspective of the men in your life. Maybe give this episode, share it with your partner, with the men in your life, so that they will also be inspired, and maybe they can relate to anything that my husband will share today. So without further ado, let's welcome my hubby, Mr. Artur Palvanov. Hi, honey. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I've been waiting a long time for this.
All right. Let's get started.
Yeah, my husband is definitely to the point. So let's start by telling women a little bit about us, how long we've been married, our maybe financial arrangement, about our life's mission, what we are working on creating together, how we view parenting, all of that.
Go ahead.
You want me to start? Yeah, I'm the talker in the family. So we've been married for 10 years. We have 3 girls together. Now it's your turn.
Yep, married for 10 years. Just celebrated anniversary this summer. And we have 3 girls, so we are parents to, pretty young family still, so it keeps us busy. Think, what else do we need to know?
How we see life, what are the things that we stand for, what are we working on creating together?
So I think we are always, improving how we see life, and we like to learn. We read a lot of books, and that's actually one of the major topics for our conversations when we do talk to each other, when we have time for ourselves, is to share ideas that we learn from books, and that's what keeps us exciting, I think.
Yeah. This is actually one thing that I'm really, really grateful for. My husband is the one who introduced me to the world of personal development and personal growth. He is the one who keeps me accountable all the time, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be growing and expanding at the rate that I am. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think we push each other, so that's a good thing.
Okay, so the reason I brought you here today, I actually want you to come on the show again, but in the future. But today's purpose is actually because as I talk to women, as I do the diva dates with the beautiful ladies, there's so many of them are really excited about this opportunity of working with somebody, allowing somebody to lead them and guide them through a process, committing the time and the money. And then almost 100% of them would say, oh, but I can't make that investment on my own. I can't make that decision on my own. I need to talk to my husband. So the reason I'm bringing you it's because, I mean, you are a man, you are my partner, and I think it's valuable to make that kind of decision together. So just wanted to have your perspective. So the first question I have for you is I wanted you to maybe describe me, how I was a year and a half ago before I decided to make a major investment into myself. And remember how scared I was. Is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? I definitely could not do this this decision without you. So just wanted you to maybe help the listeners, to understand or get the feel of how it was before a coaching experience and also after. So let's start with the before. And you can be totally honest.
Right. Okay. So before the coaching, you were green and hairy, and after the coaching, you became pink and smooth. Is that what you...
So basically, you're saying that for 9 years, you've been putting up with me being green and hairy.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I love your sense of humor, but now let's be serious.
All right. So let's see. So I think you've been through a fairly large growth period since we got married, and perhaps even before. But while we were married, I saw that you took actually a few coaching iterations with a few coaches, right? So the last one was about a year and a half ago, and before that, you also learned from other coaches related to business and maybe more in terms of finding your passion in life. But the last one, I think that's the one you want to know about, right? So that one was probably the one that made you the most uncomfortable to enroll into, because it required more time and also financial investment that was pretty significant for our family at this point in our life. And at that point, I think the difference was that you are still you. I don't think you changed, but you did gain a lot of tools that does affect how we live our life, both as a husband and wife and also as parents. So the major things are, perhaps you have more confidence.
No, I want you to say first how I was before,
and
then we're going to talk about how I am now.
Okay. All right. So, I know we're in our 30s right now, but at the end of the day, we are all little boys and little girls. That's how we can look at ourselves. So the way we show up as 30-year-olds, right? We want to be adults, but sometimes we also act like the little boys or little girls. I think that would be the biggest change, is that at some point before the coaching, the little girl would show up more in life. And the little girl doesn't mean you're not playful and not having fun in life. That part of the, being childish and playful, I think that's a good part for all of us to go through, like, the full life. But when I say little girl or little boy, is the one that is basically, uncertain and always wants to hide out, want to feel safe under somebody else's wings, even though you have to make decisions on your own. Mm-hmm. So those areas of life, I think they were showing up more before the coaching. So you were like a little girl more before that, more needy, more asking for advice when you could have made your own decision.
Yeah, and in parenting, can you share how, from your perspective, how was I showing up for girls? Was I patient or was I?
So it's gonna be the same. So, when you become a parent, you need to show up more as a leader, because the kids are now looking up to you. And when you get into your little girl or little boy state, then that leader is not showing up. So you did have more, snapping, at the kids and
Yelling.
yelling, leave me alone, because you just want to be a little girl yourself, right? And having the patience to take care of others, or maybe patience maybe is not the right word, but maybe having the tools to know yourself in order to better show up as a mother.
Yeah, and it's what's interesting is that I even before jumping on that coaching, I I did consider myself being a conscious parent. I am interested in parenting, and I have loads and loads of books on the topic. But it was interesting that even though I was exposing myself intentionally and deliberately to this information, to this content, I was still struggling. So it's interesting. What do you think was it? Like what didn't I get from books that that I did get from working with somebody?
Well, you already know it, but I am a big believer that we are habitual creatures. We're human beings, and everything in our life is a habit, including how we show up as adults in life. These are habits that we build as we become adults. So, what happens, or at least what I saw happen with you when you worked with the coach recently, is that you were able to build habits that help you to show up wherever you want to show up. Nobody tells you what you should be. You decide what you want to be. So in your case, you wanted to become maybe a more conscious mother, right? To be present with the kids. You know, to be maybe a calmer mother. In marriage, you want to show up for your husband, to be less needy, to be more independent. And also you, at the same time, you wanted to build a business that you can do from home, not to go work at, you know, in another company outside just because we had little kids. It's more convenient, so you decided to stay at home and build your business from home. So all these, you know, what you wanted to do in life, those ambitions,
Aspirations. Yeah.
they require a certain level of stamina, right? And to get there, you need to build certain habits. And without those habits, it's going to be very challenging. So I think working with a coach, the one you had in the last year and a half, you know, it brings you, first of all, accountability, and also introducing you to those tools, because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
You might go through life and you feel like, okay, you know what, I'll figure it out on my own. But you can't figure out something that you don't know. Somebody has to introduce you to that. That's number one. Number two, a lot of the times when we find what it is that, you know, something new that we learn, we forget it, right? We might get inspired for a week or two, but then life gets us back into the routine. Kids, husband, wife, whatever. Something happens in life and you get back into your routine and you forget whatever inspired you to change before. You get sucked into your regular life. And one of the concepts I learned is called a suck hole, and that's what it is really. Imagine a triangle that's upside down, and the pointy part is at the bottom, and then it goes up. As you look up, it kind of expands. So at the bottom of the triangle is you, and then one level up is like a little ladder. One level up is your family, and after your family goes like your community, and then after that goes humanity. So the suck hole is basically you always get sucked back just to think about yourself.
And the basics. It's like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. But you get sucked into yourself. So I think that's what happens when you don't have the right coach beside you that holds you accountable and introduce you to different tools in life that you can.
Yeah. So then the next question, before we get into the after, I want to ask you, because this is something I get asked about a lot from the women I work with, is the question of, but what will happen later? Like, what will happen after I'm done working with you? You know, I can totally attest to that because, you know, so there are many women who come to my diva dates. They are actually they've been through different programs in the past. They've been through Weight Watchers, they've been through Jenny Craig, they've been through other programs. And a lot of them would say, as long as I'm on the program, I'm really doing amazing. But as soon as I'm off, I go back to my normal routine, or I'm sucked into this suck hole. So how do you think that I'm able to basically keep this knowledge sustainable? What keeps me going? What do you think it is?
I think none of us can keep going without some kind of support, always, in life. So when you're done working with a coach or any other program, it's just natural human tendency to lose motivation or inspiration. That's why there's like a famous quote that says, motivation is like breakfast. You gotta have it every morning. Because you do lose it. You go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, and sometimes you're a completely different person. You just don't want to do things that you wanted to do yesterday. So you take coaching, but that's the whole idea. That's why, based on our experience, actually, when we enrolled in courses that are relatively short, maybe a few weeks or even a couple of months, they tend to work less
effective.
They're less effective than programs or coaching that goes on for 4, 6, sometimes even 12 months, because you give yourself a longer term to build certain habits, and habits take a while to build.
Yeah, and hiccups will happen along the way, and you need to be okay with that. Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the after. How do you I feel like we're doing a great service to my my previous coach. No, but the idea, ladies, why we are sharing this with you is because these objectives are happening, and these are the questions that I'm asked all the time, and I wanted my hubby to maybe dissolve some of them for us and for you. So can you talk about the how do you feel that it affected me, in terms of our marriage, in terms of our relationship, in terms of our parenting, in terms of the way I am showing up to my life, to myself. And so taking it into my world, the Health Begins with Mom world, which is my mission and which is what I believe in so deeply and I share with you so many times. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, about how do you feel that I've changed?
I think, we covered some of it. So at the end of the day, we don't really change of who we are, like based on our maybe personality traits, right? And that's a good thing. That's what makes you unique. You probably shouldn't change that. That should be something you want to be proud of. But what is missing is some tools, some technology that helps you to go through life and get to where you want to get. So I think those are the things that you were able to get with your coach. So for example, like even simple things like breathing or doing simple meditations, that they seem obvious and we hear it everywhere, but until somebody holds you accountable and shows you like the easy way to do it, you're not going to do it. Or like journaling in the morning for 5-10 minutes. You should do it, you heard it 1,000 times, but you don't do it until you hire a coach, and given that's the right coach for you, and that coach will show you an easy way to do it, right? So that it becomes clear in your mind how you should do it, what type of journal you should have, what kind of pen, where you should do it, what kind of questions you should answer during your journaling. So sorry to cut you off, many times during our coaching calls, she wouldn't even tell me what to do. She would say, well, you have to go to your journal and journal about it. And what I loved about it, it's because she helped me to tap into my natural resources, into my inner wisdom. So because the answers are always within us, right?
So it's true. It's true. It's those small things. I mean, I've heard about journaling, and you've been journaling for years and years, and I've seen you do it, and I didn't. And so that's why sometimes I say I paid thousands of dollars to learn how to journal. But yeah, it's true. It's true. It's those small things, having somebody holding you accountable to them, and then seeing the effect and the benefit of it throughout the time of the program. And then what happens for me, for example, the way I keep it sustainable, the way to me how I'm able to keep myself going even though I'm done working with her, is it's like you've seen the effect, you see how it affects you, how it changes you, how much it enhances your life, and then you're like, you can't go back, but at least you know how to bounce back, because obviously things will happen. So I guess my last question would be, was it worth it? It's a yes no question. Was it worth it?
Yes.
Okay. Remember that car drive that we went on a trip together, and I think I was just so calm. I managed it so beautifully, and you just you were sitting there and you're like, and I asked you, so what do you think? Did it work? Was it worth it, that coaching? And you said, yes, I would pay double. Remember that? Okay. Any last messages to the men in these women's worlds?
To the men, that's a tough one. Well, I mean, we're talking here, and it sounds like how to say. Sometimes it can sound like a kind of conflict, right? If you, for example, you have a coaching program, and we're talking about coaching, how it's good, how it's great, because some will think, are you just promoting your own program? But that's not the case. I think in general, the conversation here is that, investing in yourself, if you feel like something is not right, or something you need help to go through something in life, there are people out there who've gone through what you're going through. There are over 7 billion people in the world and living right now, and then so many more billions lived before us, and they wrote books, they created programs to solve the problems, the challenges we go through in life, right? So if you feel something is challenging, it's good to look for a solution. And you can get a book, you can get an online course about it, but from our experience, getting coaching one-on-one especially seems to work faster, because you get one-on-one attention, right? So I know for us, we signed up for coaching to solve a specific problem, which was related to building a business online, right? That's what your goal was. But you discovered that there were other things that were preventing you getting there in the first place.
Yeah, it's my mindset.
The mindset, like you said, oh, I'm struggling to build a business, but actually you just didn't have some habits that you needed to do that were personal habits, had nothing to do with your business. Like journaling in the morning, breathing, going to exercise regularly, or doing a type of exercise that's good for you, right? Like discovering yoga, that it's good for you, certain type of yoga. So those were part of your coaching journey.
I feel like I already had the puzzle pieces, but they were scattered all around me, because I come from the industry, I come from the health industry. I've been in this industry for a long time before I even started working with her, and it's like I knew so much, but after working with her, it made everything so clear for me. It made it clear because it helped me to just bring that message for myself and make it more sustainable, that framework. So that's where I was able to kind of bring the, what I teach women about their menstrual cycle and living, in alignment with your feminine current, the exercise, the yoga, the breathing, the meditation, the exercise, all of that, it's already something I knew. And I've been practicing it. It's just the mindset was so I guess I was missing the mindset. so yes, I definitely feel like my mindset's changed. Um, and one more thing, if I can share with the audience, is I've noticed that the fact that I've invested in myself, that I remember you actually told me not to do it because it was a significant amount for us at the time. It is still a significant amount, and there was something in me that just that kept pushing me to just do it, and I decided to go for it. And what's interesting is, a year and a half after, here I am seeing you investing in yourself, investing in coaches, although you are a very growth oriented person. But I think this is your first year that you are, and you have decided to invest the same amount even, right, into coaching. So it looks like doing that kind of work, investing in yourself, giving yourself the permission to do a bigger step. It's like you said, it's leadership, right? It's showing by example what's possible on the other side, and kind of like pulling the people who you love the most to come with you. What do you think?
I think so. For me as well, I took many courses in the past. I had a few coaches as well. And the past 6 months or so, I did enroll in probably the highest paid coaching program that I've ever been to. And it's probably just a natural way to go through life,
it's
right?
Scary. It's really scary.
The more you learn, the more you realize there's, better, more interesting things you can learn. But a lot of times the investment is higher. And you get a better result from those type of investments. So
yeah. How do you view coaching? Like, what do you think? How do you see coaching? What's the benefit of coaching? How is it different than consulting? How is it different than doing like an online program, for example? How is it different?
Well, there's it's like a lot of times in life you get into a thing called, like, you get into a box, really, right? You get stuck and you're in a box, and the unfortunate thing is that the instructions to get out of the box are on the outside of the box.
Yes.
So you need you can't see them from inside, or sometimes you do, but it takes a very long time, right? And a lot of times we can give up during this time. So by hiring a coach, you get somebody to tell you, listen, this is, that's what I see, and try that,
Right. It's
and
like putting a mirror,
tools.
right?
They give you a ladder to get out of there. So you still have to climb out of it by yourself.
Right.
The coach doesn't pull you out, but they give you the tools. That's what coaching is. You can get a book to read, but with the book you have to build the ladder. You got to do all the steps by yourself. With a coach, they give you certain tools that are ready for you. And the same with online courses. They're great, right, for very specific things that you want to accomplish in life. But if you feel like it's something a little bit bigger that you need help with, coach will be much more beneficial. And I guess one note is that finding the right coach is important.
Yes.
And that's where kind of tuning into your intuition is important. It's not going to feel like, you're not going to feel, yes, let's do it. I don't think it will ever come, especially when a significant amount of money is involved. Yeah. But you will feel that it feels right, but you feel a little bit of fear inside of you, right? And the fear is just trying to protect you, which is normal. But inside, if you dig deeper, you feel like it's the right thing to do. And I think that's what you had.
Yeah, that's what I had. It was, it's learning how to, well, that's what I do in my program, which is something that it's like I'm building on. It's distinguishing between fear that is crippling and not crippling, and fear that is keeping you safe, actually, like literally, or fear that is crippling, that is providing you from growth. It's this idea of distinguishing between expansive and contracting energy, because it happens to us all the time. It's learning to tap into the wisdom of your body. And I think it's magic. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's go pick up the kids from school.
Let's go. Let's, or you go?
Yeah, you go. I gotta get back to work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, guys. So this is my husband and his perspective. I hope this has been helpful for you. And, his perspective was illuminating for you, and our conversation helped you to maybe think of some things that you didn't consider. I do want you to know that I totally understand that making the leap it's scary, it's frightening. I really understand. I've been through it myself. On this show, on this interview, we've shared my struggles. When I decided to make the leap for myself. So, like he said, my coaching, the coach that I have hired, helped me with my business, with just viewing and having a different perspective when it comes to building a business, creating a business, being of service to my community, really showing up from a place of authenticity and vulnerability, as opposed to, fear and allowing this to cripple me. I do know that I have a really important message to share. And, every single day that I do so, I feel like I'm so grateful that I did invest in myself. So, this is the same message I have for you. You've been listening to my show for a while now, or if you're new, then, go ahead and binge over all the episodes that I have, or the ones that kind of speak to you when you scroll through. But if this message speaks to you, if you feel like you've been neglecting yourself, your body, for a long time, and you need some help, you need somebody to pull you out of this misery and suffering, then this is your chance. This is your chance. The Health Begins with Mom Mastery, which is my program, which is my coaching program, is now open for enrollment. And I would love to connect with you and see if I can be of service to you. See if I can, take your hand and pull you out of this suffering and misery, because I want you to remember that suffering is necessary until it is unnecessary. So you have to decide, that your life is worth it, that you are worth it, that your family is worth it, and this is, living from a state of existence of just, surviving is of no service, benefit, or value to anybody, right? So it is really up to you to show up, put your big girl's pants on, and say, here, I need help. So head on over to www.healthbeginswithmom.com/apply, fill out the application, and after I get it, I'll go over it myself and I will get in contact with you. We'll set up a phone call and see if we are the right fit, if I can help you, and we'll take it from there. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Health Begins with Mom show. I love hearing from you, so please post your comments and questions over at healthbeginswithmom.com/podcast. If you love the show, please share it on social media and in your real life with other moms who might enjoy this content. And if you have a burning question or topic you'd like me to hit on the show, just drop me a line at dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com. And if you love the show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Much love and many blessings.